What's up guys, it's Someone here, and today we'll be showing you off the insaneness of this solar Warlock build that mainly uses Dawnblade and not Swell of Radiance, as this build has insane restoration times, and with solar content this destroys it really well, especially for solar flawlesses and even endgame content for GMs. So let's get into the video. So with this build and why it is good is mainly come down to with how the seasonal artifact mods work this season, all that being more solar based, but obviously with this being using Dawnblade, and you are utilizing Dawn Chorus, which, if you don't know what Dawn Chorus is, when your Daybreak projectiles deal more damage, and Scorch tags the impact, your Scorch is improved, and you gain a small amount of melee energy when you Scorch damages the target, which is pretty good. Now, why is this good? Well, with how Scorch is, and with artifact mods, you can apply a lot of Scorch damage over time, and with the fragments for this build, you can apply even more Scorch and do a lot of damage, as Scorch is a damage over time effect, and this build has insane amounts of it and insane amounts of uptime for it. So what do we do with aspects of fragments? Well, for fragments, we're gonna go with obviously Touch of Flame. Now the reason for this is with Touch of Flame, it will benefit your grenades. Now you can go with either having a solar grenade, which is a nice one for over time, and applying Scorch, or fusion nade, applying Scorch itself. But if you're doing that for more general content, you can do. If you're doing for more end game content, I would recommend healing nades, as healing nades are great, and with Touch of Flame you get obviously restoration times 2, which is really nice. With the second one, I'd go with Heat Rises. Now you'll be thinking, why is that and not going with Icarus Dash? Well, with Heat Rises, it's more beneficial, to say the least, as with Heat Rises, when you consume a grenade, you obviously float in the air, which can be helpful for content if you need to get to somewhere, places, and just easy access. Whereas Icarus Dash, yes, you can dodge out that area, blah 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 blah. But with Heat Rises, when you consume your grenade of whichever grenade you're using, it cures you, which is nice. So if you're in a like a touch of a spot, you need to just consume a grenade, you can do with that. Obviously, if you're doing a healing grenade, the healing nade will give you restoration times 1, which is also nice. But obviously, if you got nowhere to throw it, it's quite good to do that. But if you got Touch of Flame with healing nades, it's also times 2. So if you can throw it somewhere, best doing with that. But if you can't, just consume it to get the restoration for this build. Now the fragments. The fragments are basically allows you to apply more Scorch overall, whilst also helping to get your healing ref back. That's why. This is why the first fragment, Ember Singeing, your class ability recharges faster when you Scorch targets. So the more Scorch with this build, as this is more a Scorch based build, your healing risk will come back pretty much rapidly, as you can also Scorch targets with your abilities, your melee abilities, example, or grenades if you've gone with more aggressive grenades, or your weapons, your solar weapons, let's say. As we're going into the video, later on in the video, you'll see with some of the fragments, or should I say seasonal artifact mods, what you can do with that, applying more Scorch. But yeah, with that Ember Singeing, you can basically use your grenade or melee abilities. And speaking of melee abilities, which one do you choose? Now, it really comes down to which one you prefer, as either or works fine. So, Incinerate Snaps or Celestial Fire, either or works the best. Second one being Ember Torches, Pelmy attacks. Against commands, make sure you and nearby aliens Radiant. This is just a nice one if you can't proc the Radiant from DC's Artifact mod, which we'll speak about. But this is really just nice and ideal, as you can just automatically apply it. And when you also do damage with your solo abilities, you'll see weakened targets, which is the other seasonal artifact mod, which will go more down the line. But yeah. Ember of Nth Room, solo weapon or ability final will extend the duration of Restoration Radiant. This will basically make you indefinitely have those effects going on. So yes, this is a good reason why we do this, as Ember Room is really good for that. And then Ember Ashes, you apply more Scorch that stacks to your targets. Just an added reason to have it, and there's a no-brainer why not to have it, as it's more Scorch build, you might as well have it. So with that, this is your super. The super you'll be using is Dawnblade. Why not? Well, well, you could use in a situational if you're doing GMs and you feel like you need it, but realistically, with the amount of healing rifts you get and grenades, you probably don't need it, as Daybreak is really good, and for DPS wise, it does a lot of damage, as you probably see me doing like a damage phase of the dungeon, just soloing it. It does a good chunk, and then with the weapons I use, it does really well. And you can see I'm not dying, using the rifts, healing aids, all that, just to stay alive. It's really good and not much to worry about with that. So yeah, and then obviously whatever melee abilities you want. Burst Glide is probably the best glide in the game. Healing Rift, obviously you get Healing Rift fast, and then whatever nade you want. If you're doing solo content, recommend Healing Nades. If you're doing ones with people, either solo or fusion nades, as the fusion is quite high for just pure DPS. Now let's talk about the weapons for this build. Obviously we went over the exotic armor piece we're using, obviously Dawn Couriers and what it does, but the weapons. Now, for your energy weapon, you want a solo weapon. Solo kinetic, to be more precise, or primary, what you want to say. Now, you got options. Here's some of my favourite options you can use. For legendary ones, Callous Melee Tool or Sally's Bane. I really like Sally's Bane more, as it's just really good hand cannon. Obviously, the raid weapon, so it's more harder to get, but it's a really good weapon overall. Callous Melee Tool is a good one, but obviously you can't get it anymore. So you need to wait for Sir or Banshee to sell a good roll of it. If you can get one with Unrelenting in Incandescent, we'll recommend that. So yeah, but there's two solo exotic weapons that is really dominating the meta right now and benefit from these solo changes with the artifact mods, that being Sunshot or Prometheus Lens. Sunshot is a ridiculous crowd control weapon and just annihilates everything on the field, and it's just dumb, and it's always been good. Even before this, it's a good weapon. Prometheus Lens is a whole different story, as also Prometheus Lens, you can proc unstop with it, because you can knight with it when you do your first shot, like Scorching stacks, and the rest is set history. But also when you get Radiant, you get anti-barrier. Now this is where it gets a bit interesting, as if you get obviously getting anti-barrier, ooh, that's gonna be good. And then getting unstops, you in theory now have a weapon that can do 2 champion mods at once, which is dumb, to say the least. So yeah, Prometheus Lens is really good, especially for GMs. Sunshot is really good for your general player stuff, but obviously can be used in GMs as well, because it's just great. Either all these weapons is a no-brainer to use. So yes, if you're not doing damage phases, like solo damage phases, you need a more powerful heavy weapon that's an exotic, then I would recommend using your exotic on your energy slot, being either Sunshots or Primaris Lens. These weapons should be easy to get, so yeah, these are all good options. If not, a good soul legendary. So good option to go for. Even a BXR with an incandescent is a good option. So yeah, you've got good options. Obviously, with your kinetic weapon being special, this could be any weapon. A recommendation I've been recommending in my builds is Scatter Signal, one of the best fusion rifles in the kinetic slot in the game. It's good, easy to get, as you can craft it right now. It can roll with Overload Control Burst, and you know how good Control Burst is. It's really good. And Overflow is even better, especially when you're doing damage phases. You can instantly load the mag and overflow it, so it's a much better reconstruction or rewind round. So yeah, I'll go with that. And then obviously for your power weapons, realistically this could be anything, any decent power weapon you have in your arsenal. So yeah, ones could be Bright's Contempt, Cold Confront, Apex Predator, or even Doom Petit, you know, basically your LFR that you got this season. So yeah, I know 3 of those weapons I said were raid/dungeon weapons, but one of them is a seasonal weapon you can get, so that's always an option you can go for. So yes, but if you use an exotic weapon in that slot, the one I would recommend is Dragon's Breath. A Dragon Breath is just ridiculous. It's basically a soul version of Anarchy, and if you know how good Anarchy was back in the day, then you know how good this weapon is. And with me playing Scorch, yeah, it makes this build even better. So yes, to that. Now, with their artifact mods of what we're going to use this build, I give you the following ones. For the first column, whatever champion mods you need, obviously anti-barrier on stop, and then Overlord. Obviously, we're going to get one anti-barrier mod this season, that being Sardans, but as we're getting Radiant constantly, we don't really need that, so that's fine. Unstop, got unstoppable hand cannons or bows, either or really you can go for. Either good options. And then Overlord being pulse or rifle, again good options, whatever you want to go for in those slots. Now, the first column is where we're getting started with. The first one to go for is Kindling Trigger. Radiant causes soul weapons to apply Scorch to unscorched combatants. This is what will help you with Ember Singeing, obviously getting your wrist back faster as you just apply Scorched attack, because even if you just damage them with a Radiant weapon, ridiculous and great for that. Obviously, if with this season being more Taken and Scorn Fiend from whence you came, this is just a flat off, just more damage buff, so there's no reason not to pick it. It's just yes, basically what pick. So yeah, for the third column, Flint Striker, rapid solar weapon precision hits or rapid solar weapon final blows grant radiant. If you're plinking enemies away, like say you use a Polaris Lance far distance, you will proc this quite frequently and get radiant, so it's really good for that. And it's an easy way to get radiant with this build while you're using your melee ability. So yeah. Torch. While radiant deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by strand or stasis debuffs. This is good if you've got teammates that are using strand or stasis debuffs. This, what it means is this is with strand, this could be unraveled, served, or suspended. So that's what it means for that. And the stasis one is either frozen or slowed. So yeah, you do more damage to it over time. So it'd be great for that. Heart of the Flame, casting your super grants nearby allies radiant, increases the damage of your super for each nearby ally. This is good for if you got allies nearby and you proc it. It's just good for that, and especially with this build using Dawnblade, you do even more damage. And Dawnblade is really good already with Zoic piece. So with Dawn Cuirass. So yeah, you do even more damage, especially in GM. So this is a good pickup one. and then wishing to be in when while your super is nearly fully charged. Ability Final Blows spawn orbs power. Obviously, your one to be using is your melee ability, so yeah. Or your grenade if you go with more solo nade or fusion nade. So yes, this is really helpful and it's really good for that. For the fourth slot, we only got one. That's his Revitalize the Blast, causing damage with solo ability, weakens champions and bosses for a short duration. As I said, you just basically debuffing targets with your solo abilities. This does count with your solo super as well, so keep it in mind with that. Next, the fifth column, solo operative. If you're doing solo content, it's a must, and no reason why not to pick it, as you do more damage overall. And then raise precision, loss, radiant, solo precision, final blows, cause combatants to ignite, so you just will basically have incandescent on all your weapons, all your solo weapons, which is pretty insane, to say the least. So, yeah. So, with artifact mod, down the way, we go with normal mods for this build. So, the mods that are quite good for this build, just depends on like what you need really. So what I've gone for is the following options, and for your helmet I've gone with a hammer synth, because obviously that based on what your elements of the class is, and this has been solar, we're mainly using solar. Energy weapon, that's a primary one, we're also going to use that, it's only one, so that's great. And then two heavy ammo finder mods, as obviously heavy ammo can be scarce, and with you having this, you can spam it a bit more, but obviously with it being a heavy finder brick, you will find it only gives less ammo. So in the boots slot, we have a scavenger of whatever heavy you have. So yeah, so keep that in mind for that. Whatever heavy you're using, match up the scavenger. So for example, if you use an arc heavy, have an arc scavenger, or strand, use an arc strand scavenger, etc, etc. For the gauntlets, we've gone with heavy handed. Obviously if you're using soul nades, fusion nades, you can swap this to the grenade one. Basically you just want to generate orbs of power with either of those abilities. Fastball, throw a distance grenade, self-said. And then impact induction. The reason why I've done this one is to get your grenade back time faster, basically, especially with healing nades, because they take longer to come back. Now, with this, you do want to focus on key stats for your builds, that being discipline, as having 100 discipline is nice because it reduces the timer significantly. In this case, 45 seconds from grenade back, which is actually pretty fast. So yeah. So with having impact induction, it will make that come back even faster. So yeah, it's nice to have that. And then obviously if you go anything else, especially for higher end content, resilience is a nice one, as having damage, a 30% damage reduction at tier 10, just great overall. So yeah. So for your chest piece, this can be anything realistically. If you're doing solo content, I would highly recommend just going with more resistant mods on what calendars you're doing. If not, you maybe can throw it, if you're doing general content, you can probably throw some scavengers in, especially in Radiator and all that. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Boots, I like to have 2 surges and then a scavenger of your choice, basically. As obviously having a scavenger, you get more heavy ammo, especially from the heavy ammo finder mod. Example is rocket brick. You just get 1. With a scavenger mod, you get 2, so it's quite nice for that. You don't need to pick up as much heavy as you need to really with that. So yeah, and your wand or class item, time dilation, nice, just at least have that for each armor tries to last a little bit longer. Then 2 bomber class mods to obviously you're getting your rift back really fast, so it's nice to spam this and basically have your grenade back faster. As like I say, if you got healing nade, this will significantly reduce the time, or any other nade realistically, it's just good for it overall, as these mods do help out, especially with any content, not just solo. So yeah, Especially the chest piece, you can just go for whatever you realistically need it for that scenario. The rest is sort of like what I go for when I'm doing content, so yeah, there's that. Other than that, that is the build, and this is the insaneness of what is Solo Warlock at the minute. Being able to just dump damage everywhere and just using Dawn Curse with Dawn Blade, it's just fun, really good, and it's just, and it can show it can be used in high-end content, especially soloing content. And this soloing content is hard to be able to use this and not use it basically well. It is just quite proven how good it is overall. But other than that, yep, this is the build and this is how good Solo Warlock is, aka Daybreak, Dawn Curse, spamming Scorch build, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, but if you enjoyed this video and want to see more builds like this, please let me know in the comments down below and what build you want to see next, as people might ask me about this when I post a video of my solo flawless run of Warlock's Ruin and what I've used, which is basically this, and it decimated it quite well. I say that it took maybe an hour run, but at the same time, that's how it is sometimes. So yeah, it's no strand, grapple, infinite loop sort of thing. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for watching, and if you want to see more, let me know what you want to see next. But other than that, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.